Thanks, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. What I'm going to talk about today, a guiding light, how soap operas shaped my family, my career, and my life. Before I get started, I just wanted to take a minute and thank Dr. Charles Coletta and the Department of Popular Culture at Bowling Green State University for inviting me here today. It's an honor to be a part of this gathering of people who care so deeply about soap operas and the stories that they have given us throughout the years. I'd like to start by acknowledging a woman named Erna Phillips, creator of both Guiding Light and As the World Turns, and widely regarded as the mother of the American soap opera. She invented much of the language of the genre, serialized storytelling, cliffhangers, and the rhythm of daily dramas. And it feels especially fitting to mention that just last week, on October 20th, we marked the 95th anniversary of Painted Dreams, the very first radio soap opera, which premiered in 1930 on Chicago's WGN and was created by Erna herself. That's where this incredible story of daytime truly began. When she created the Guiding Light in 1937, it carried one fundamental theme, the brotherhood of man. As Reverend Rutledge on the radio drama often reminded viewers in the earliest years of the Guiding Light, quoting Edwin Markham, "There is a destiny that makes us brothers. None goes his way alone. All that we give into the lives of others comes back into our own." That belief in community, connection, and shared humanity was at the heart of soaps from the very beginning. And that idea of a guiding light that connects us through story, compassion, and shared humanity has been a through line in my own life. From my family's immigrant story to my career, soaps have truly been my guiding light. For me, soap operas were never just background noise. They were the soundtrack of my childhood and in many ways the language of survival for my family. My parents, who were Holocaust survivors, when my mother arrived in the United States in 1958, she faced the daunting task of learning English. It was my grandmother, my dad's mother, who introduced her to Guiding Light and As the World Turns, both on CBS. Those shows became her teachers, and she became a loyal CBS watcher. And soon enough, she passed that light along to me. I eventually joined my mother in falling in love with the folks in Oakdale and Springfield. And later, when my dad retired, he became a regular viewer too. Watching soaps became a family ritual for us. I was exposed to the entire CBS lineup: Search for Tomorrow, The Young and the Restless, Capital, and later The Bold and the Beautiful. These weren't just shows to us, they were woven into the fabric of our household. And then came the VCR. My mom made sure I was taping her stories every day. Those tapes, as many of you here know, were gold. I truly wish I still had many of them. Who else remembers recording their stories when the VCR first burst onto the scene? In the early 1960s, Guiding Light gave us Bert Bauer's uterine cancer storyline. The show couldn't even use words like pap smear or cancer, but the message came through. Thousands of women wrote in saying that Bert's story inspired them to see their doctors. A fictional character saved real lives. Years later, in the 1990s, Guiding Light revisited health with Lillian Rains's breast cancer. Fan mail poured in, women writing about mammograms, survivors thanking Guiding Light for putting their truth on screen. And then again in 2006, one of Guiding Light's most popular characters, Riva, was diagnosed with breast cancer herself. And in 1988, for me, As the World Turns introduced Hank Elliott, one of daytime's first openly gay male characters. And as a gay man myself, this was a pivotal moment. The first time I saw a version of myself on screen. We saw Hank's friendship with Iva, played by the incredible Lisa Brown, and we also saw Andy Dixon's not-so-positive reaction to Hank's coming out. It wasn't all acceptance, but it was real and it mattered. Soaps weren't just entertainment. They educated, they advocated, they created community, and they also knew how to keep us hooked. If those powerful storylines were the heart, the cliffhangers were the pulse. Who remembers waiting all weekend for Monday's show? Despite their popularity, soaps didn't always get the respect that they truly deserved. Primetime soaps like Dallas, Dynasty, and Knots Landing were celebrated, even though they followed the same serialized storytelling. And today's streaming dramas, cliffhangers, binge-worthy arcs, characters you can't stop watching, all borrow the formula soaps perfected. The only difference? We had to wait until tomorrow or Monday instead of pressing next episode on the streaming platform. But soaps were doing it at a scale no other media matched. Approximately 260 episodes a year compared to the 22 episodes in prime time. Back then, soaps shot an entire episode in one day. Today, they shoot multiple episodes, sometimes multiple scenes from different episodes in one day. Daytime actors often had to learn 20, 30, maybe 40 pages of dialogue daily, more if their character was front and center in story. Some of our biggest primetime stars and movie stars who appeared on soaps couldn't handle that amount of dialogue on a daily basis. And while some actors struggled to shake their soap roots, others used it as a springboard. Julianne Moore, as you see here, Meg Ryan, Marissa Tomei, all started on As the World Turns. Kevin Bacon, John Wesley Shipp, Melina Kanakarides on Guiding Light. And Kelly Ripa launched her career on All My Children, where she met her husband, Mark Consuelos. Without their start, there would be no Live with Kelly and Mark. And men watched too. Even if they didn't readily admit it, I once gave a tour of All My Children to the Cleveland Indians baseball team. These athletes had their afternoons free, and yes, they were watching their stories. How many of you had a dad, a brother, or a partner who was secretly hooked? There were many, many. In 1984, the New York Daily News ran a piece on Guiding Light. It described Judy Evans' character, Beth Raines, being blinded in an on-air explosion and mentioned the show's collaboration with the Horizon School for the Blind in New York City. Tucked away at the end of that article was a single line. Guiding Light was filmed at 221 West 26th Street in New York City. I was 18 years old. It was a bus and subway ride away. That article, pitched by someone in public relations at this very show, decades before I would step into that very role, set me on a path I never could have predicted. I went to the studio. I stood outside with my camera, hoping to catch a glimpse of the people who had become a part of my extended Springfield family. Those trips truly changed my life. I met other fans, production staff, and eventually many of the actors themselves, the same actors who portrayed the characters I had fallen in love with on screen. One of those fans was Debbie Walsh. In our teens, Debbie and I bonded instantly outside that studio over our love of Guiding Light, and we have been friends ever since that day in 1985. In fact, some of you may remember those days when after a Friday cliffhanger, you had to call a friend to talk it out. Debbie and I had plenty of those calls back then, and our friendship, born out of soap fandom, is still one of those most special connections in my life. Debbie is on the right. I also met a couple outside that studio from Clearwater, Florida on West 26th Street, Bob and Diana. Diana, pictured there, became like a second mother to me. Over the years, I became part of her family, sharing a friendship with her 2 sons and her 3 grandchildren. I lost her a few years ago, and I miss her so very much. She would have told me what to wear today. She would be very proud that I am here today, so I miss her very much, and as my mother would be too. Through those connections, outside that studio, I started working for the Guiding Light fan club, taking photographs, interviewing cast members, and eventually gaining access inside the studio. It was like stepping into a dream for me. During college, I interned at Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. I produced a Guiding Light 50th anniversary episode with Terrell Anthony, Krista Tessero, and Ed Bryce, and 2 Daytime Emmy Award segments featuring the lead actor and actress nominees, including Marcy Walker, Elizabeth Hubbard, who Constance mentioned earlier, Kim Zimmer, Scott Bryce, Larry Brigman, and A. Martinez. For a college student who had once stood outside the studio, it was surreal to be helping showcase these actors to a national audience. After graduation from college, I joined the Walt Disney Studios working in film publicity. At Disney, when I would call anyone, they would pick up the phone. Journalists knew the Disney brand, and every movie release was an event. I had the privilege of working on Sister Act, Pocahontas, the world's largest premiere. That photo of Vanessa Williams and the 2 women who voiced Pocahontas was at the premiere for 100,000 people in Central Park. Disney was a global entertainment company, and that moved its stories into the world, and everyone knew it. So when I moved into PR at Guiding Light and As the World Turns, I quickly learned that unlike the Walt Disney Company, where doors flew open with soaps, I and my PR team, we had to hustle. We had to be creative, think outside the box, and constantly put our creativity to the test. As the media landscape evolved, so did our PR strategies, from courting mainstream press to cultivating the growing influence of bloggers. Here are a few of the projects that I'm most proud of. You may remember the Learning Channel's hit daytime show, A Wedding Story. It followed the real-life couples through their wedding day. Well, we pitched something they had never done before. What if you covered a soap opera wedding? And to our surprise, TLC said yes. In 2002, as Guiding Light celebrated its 50th anniversary on television, TLC turned its cameras on one of daytime's most iconic couples, Reva Shane and Josh Lewis, played by Kim Zimmer and Robert Newman. Their relationship had spanned decades, filled with breakups, reconciliations, and the kind of history only soaps could pull off. And now the Learning Channel was filming this fictional couple in Central Park as if they were planning a real wedding. TLC even interviewed the actors in character, as well as their family and friends, creating this clever mockumentary-style crossover that blurred the lines between fiction and reality. The A Wedding Story episode, which aired on June 6, 2002, devoted a full 30 minutes to Josh and Reva's third and final wedding. At the third, that's not many in daytime. At the same time, CBS aired Reva and Josh's wedding story across 5 days on Guiding Light. It was a moment where daytime television and reality television literally met in the middle, a true pop culture hybrid before that term was even common.
Here we go again. Third time.
You better make it work this time.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever walked a day in my life without Reva in my mind somewhere. I believe absolutely that Reva Shane is my destiny.
Joshua Lewis is my soulmate, truly. I think that we're entering into a period in our lives where hopefully we will get it right this time. I'll never forget the day that I first laid eyes on Joshua Lewis. My mama was the Lewis family maid. They had this huge ranch, and from the moment I laid eyes on him, I knew he was the one I wanted, and I was going to marry him. And it helped that they were rich.
When I met Reva, we were kids, we were just young children. We were 5 or 6 years old, something like that. She had the most beautiful blonde hair, and she was so bold. And I've always been a little more reserved, a little bit more quiet.
Next came a project that really captured how far we were willing to go to connect with fans, literally. We launched the Catch Us If You Can bus tour in 2002, taking As the World Turns on the road to 10 college campuses across the country. We wanted to bring the show to a younger audience and do something no daytime drama had ever done before. So our casting director, Mary Clay Boland, and I hit the road ahead of the tour, holding open auditions on college campuses. Hundreds of college students lined up for a shot at appearing on national television, and about 150 were cast in small roles that taped on location at the 9 colleges that we traveled across the country to. Meanwhile, 3 of the show's young stars, Peyton List, Jessica Dunphy, and Agim Kaba, traveled from campus to campus in character, continuing a storyline that saw their characters on the run from the law. It was equal parts soap opera and road trip movie. The episodes filmed on those campuses aired about a month later, giving viewers across the country a chance to see their schools and their classmates on CBS. And then we took it even a step further, turning Catch Us If You Can into a reality-style competition on CBS's The Early Show, where viewers could vote online for their favorite aspiring young actor. This was one of the earliest examples of interactive fan engagement just months after American Idol first premiered. It was a bold, fun, and forward-thinking campaign that blended daytime drama, live and fan engagement, and reality TV, all long before cross-platform storytelling became the buzzword it is today. So here's the Catch Us If You Can.
Listen, we got one more to get to. Our final screen test goes to Rob Feinberg. He's just a freshman at the University of Pittsburgh, but he's going to be great. Here's Rob on As the World Turns from last fall.
I know who you are. Allison something, right?
No, you must have me mistaken for someone else. I'm Sunshine.
Well, Sunshine, there's flyers circulating around campus and pictures on the Pitt website of you and your traveling buddies. Aaron, Lucy, and Allison, the Oakdale 3.
What if we are? What do you want?
Your autograph.
Soap Star Screen Test, Rob Feinberg. Action.
Jack, can you believe it? The bust of the century, man. My old man's gonna be bragging about this
You're
for the rest
suspended,
of his...
Kill.
What?
I need your badge.
You're suspending me for getting the one guy that no one else could catch, that you couldn't catch? What is this, Jack?
You disobeyed orders, disregarded procedure,
I
put your life
caught
in danger.
the bad guy. That's the job. Isn't that what you taught me?
Maybe I should have taught you better.
You can't do this. You can't just put me onto the street like this. You cannot do this.
I've got my
Orders? Yeah, I know about orders. But this is my life we're talking about. You gotta talk to somebody, Jack. Change their mind.
I tried. I'm sorry.
What am I gonna tell my dad?
Oh, are you okay?
I'm
You were great. Excellent. Wow. Amazing stuff. Man, that was intense. All right, give us the review. All right?
They were great. You know, under
Yeah?
the pressure these people are under, I mean, all week long.
Could you imagine being a college student and doing that on live TV? We had a week's worth of 5 days a week, a different actor doing a live screen test, all on CBS. After The Early Show, then came one of our most unexpected crossovers, the day daytime met the Marvel Universe. In 2006, Guiding Light teamed up with Marvel Comics for a special Inside the Light episode titled She's a Marvel. The episode centered around Harley Cooper, played by Beth Ehlers, a busy cop, mother, and wife, who's suddenly zapped by an electrical current and wakes up with superpowers. It was equal parts comic book fantasy and classic Guiding Light storytelling, a regular woman trying to balance her extraordinary new powers with everyday life. Marvel even released an 8-page companion comic that featured some of its most famous heroes and villains descending on Springfield to determine whether this new superhero was friend or foe. The crossover ran on both television and print, introducing soap fans to the Marvel Universe and Marvel fans to Springfield. It was pure pop culture fun and a reminder that daytime drama could live anywhere, even in an 8-page comic. And then came As the World Turns. The characters of Luke and Noah had their first on-screen kiss in 2007, and it made headlines. Entertainment Tonight covered it, and for many fans, it was a landmark moment in LGBTQ plus representation.
I can do it.
History will be made Friday on CBS's As the World Turns with the first teenage same-sex kiss on daytime television.
It's a real story. It's an everyday story. It's one that, millions of people are going through.
In the story, Luke, played by Van Hansis, is an openly gay teen. The character of Noah is still conflicted about his sexuality.
And perhaps truly the most meaningful project, PR event that I worked on was during Guiding Light's 70th anniversary. In 2007, we celebrated the longest running show in broadcast history. Executive producer Ellen Wheeler wanted to honor the spirit of Erna Phillips' original vision, the brotherhood of man. But instead of just talking about it, she asked, what if we lived it? That question became the foundation of our year-long campaign, Find Your Light. We partnered with an organization called the Hands-On Network to launch a national volunteer initiative. For one remarkable week, our production shut down in New York City, and the entire cast and crew flew more than 100 people to the Gulf Coast to help rebuild homes devastated by Hurricane Katrina. During that week, we also filmed an entire episode of Guiding Light that aired on Valentine's Day, featuring real footage of our cast and crew rebuilding homes, visiting schools, and turning over a completed house to a family who had lost everything. We didn't stop there. Each month throughout the year, the cast visited a new city to continue the effort, encouraging fans to find their light. By giving back in their own communities, fans were invited to join us throughout the year, not just to watch us, but to roll up their sleeves and volunteer besides their favorite actors. We even created an interactive website, findyourlight.net, where fans could upload videos sharing what brought light into their lives, mirroring the on-air campaign that featured our cast talking about what truly inspired them. It was the perfect full circle moment, taking Erna Phillips' message from the radio days of 1937 and translating it into modern action 70 years later, bridging generations of Guiding Light fans through purpose and compassion. That campaign reminded me that Guiding Light was never just a show, it was a community. And for me, it became deeply personal. Back in 1984, a PR article about Guiding Light first sent me on this path. In 1997, I joined the PR team myself before leading the team in 2002. And in 2009, just 2 days before the final episode, executive producer Ellen Wheeler and head writer Laurie Hurst, my dear friends, immortalized me by writing me into an episode. 15,760.
Press is going to have this news very soon, and when they start calling, there'll be a lot of calls. I want you to refer all of the press calls to Mr. Locher at Spalding Enterprises PR department. Okay. If family calls, you refer them to me or to Philip. Any other calls, you just take a message.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
This is actress Marge Doucet, the late Marge Doucet, who tells, after her brother dies, to call the head of PR, Mr. Locher. So I was pretty lucky to be immortalized in such a way. Truly, though, for me, with all of these things that transpired from sitting outside, standing outside the studio, working in PR, and this, everything came full circle for me in that moment. And I often think what my mom would have thought if she had been alive to hear that and to know that she introduced me to this world. In 2009, on April Fool's Day no less, we got the heartbreaking news that Guiding Light would come to an end that September after 15,762 episodes. And As the World Turns would follow a year later. For me and for millions of fans, it felt like losing family. And truth be told, some of us are still feeling that loss 16 years later. But a guiding light doesn't go out so easily. In 2020, during one of the darkest chapters of our lives, the pandemic, that light came back to life in a new way through the Locher Room. What began as one reunion with the cast of As the World Turns, followed by Guiding Light, has turned into nearly 600 episodes, and more importantly, a community. Over the past 5 years, I have sat down with actors, writers, directors, producers, and the fans themselves who have kept the world spinning and the light on for all these decades. Together, we've immortalized these shows, preserving the stories, the artistry, and the friendships that defined an era of television. But even more than that, the Locher Room has become a gathering place, a reminder that the connection audiences felt for those shows still exists today in 2025. It is proof that storytelling never really ends. It just finds new ways to bring people together. And here we are, 25 years after the last new daytime soap opera premiered, Passions, in 1999. In February of 2025, Beyond the Gates debuted on CBS, produced by CBS Studios, the NAACP, and Procter & Gamble Studios, the same company that launched Guiding Light in 1937. It features a predominantly black cast, the first since Generations, in 1989. Back in the 1980s, we had the VCR to catch up on our shows. Today, many of our soaps, Days of Our Lives, The Young and the Restless, The Bold and the Beautiful, Beyond the Gates, and General Hospital, stream on platforms like Peacock, Hulu, and Paramount+. Some of them regularly rank in the top streamed shows of the week for their genres. I find myself tuning into shows I didn't watch religiously, just so I'm up to speed with the guests I host in the Locher Room. It is proof that the genre isn't gone, it is evolving, it is being reborn. Looking back, my life has always come down to three things: family, community, and the power of storytelling. For my mother, soaps were her teachers. For me, they became a passion, a career, and a legacy that I now help preserve. From standing outside the studio with a camera, to walking in as a publicist, to creating the Locher Room, soaps have been the through line of my life. They have entertained us, they have educated us, they broke barriers, they gave families rituals that spanned generations, and through it all, one thing remained constant: they were, and still are, a guiding light. Thank you.